Those are some of my favorite guests. Guys who disagree with me in my take. Unlike 99.9% of the shows, you always get people on that agree with you. I don't really like that. I mean, I get people on all the time that disagree with what I say. I don't have a problem with that. Sports talk. You should have your own opinion. Unlike in the news cycle where people tell you how to think. That's the greatest thing about sports fans. You're more intelligent than the news talk people who watch those shows. You know why? They're sheep. When you're a sports fan, you're not sheep. You're not sheep. You got an opinion on a guy. You like a guy. You think this guy's full of shit, or you think this guy's full of shit. Or you don't. Or you don't. I love guys like that. Yeah, you're right, Bob. Hey, this is Bob in Cherry Hill. Hey, man, I listen to you every day, and I've never disagreed with you. Well, then you ain't the guy I want. That doesn't make for compelling shows. I see. Most importantly to me, this is entertainment. Being right. Do you know how many times I was right and I got fired for it? I said in Miami, LeBron James would never stay in Miami. On the flagship of the Miami Heat. Maniac Bruno said Hurts is elite. I disagree. I don't think 1 year makes you elite in anything. I don't think it makes you elite in anything in life. One moment in time. It's an elite moment. It's an elite year to some. I don't think those numbers he had a year ago are elite. I think the team was elite. He was very good. Not taking it away. Okay? He's got all that talent on his football team right now, and he's not. Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes struggling with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on his team? No matter who the coordinator was. Could you imagine him? Why is Hurts struggling? Because of Brian Johnson. Talk about low-hanging fruit. Let's go to the coordinator because it's the only thing that's different. True. You had 6 months to go through this. From February, you knew this was going to be here. Only you were telling me coordinators are going to be fine. Everything's fine. It's Jalen. All of a sudden, now you get them into a game. It's Brian Johnson and Sean. Actually, I'll make this comment to you. I actually don't think Sean Desai is doing that poor a job. I don't. I think he has so less to work with than what Jonathan Gannon did a year ago. Plus, you have an injured Reddick. I actually personally think Sean Desai is keeping it together. I don't have a problem with Sean Desai. He's limited in personnel with talent and injuries right now. Do you really think he's doing a bad job? That's not his fault that defense is horrific against pass coverage. That's a talent issue and a health issue right now. Thank you very much, Quan. You should make a T-shirt with that. Congratulations to you, kid. There, you stood on us. You stood on an anthill. Congratulations to you, kid. All good. I actually am I right when I say this about Desai? I tell you this. Do you think Jonathan Gannon would be doing a better job right now coordinating that defense than what Sean Desai's doing? Do you? Do you think Sean Desai would do a better job than Jonathan Gannon? I do. Playing shittier teams, easier teams, and with more talent. Jonathan Gannon would be a train wreck this year. Train wreck. Train wreck. And guess what he would be doing? They'd be blaming the players. I think Jonathan Gannon would have divided the team more if he stayed and coordinated that group that's in there right now. And you would see a complete shit show going on. Hey, when they couldn't stop the run and they were floating around number 22, he didn't come up with any new complex front. He went to Howie, and Howie got him 2 new dudes. Right? Got him Linville Joseph and Adamic Sue. That's not fixing your problems. When they had problems because of personnel issues in Dallas, Dan Quinn came up with a scheme. Dan Quinn came up with a scheme and helped them. I think Sean Desai, you know what? I know. See, you're looking at it, and you're not looking at this correctly. I actually think Sean Desai, I mean, he's got lesser talent. Playing 10 yards off is still crazy to me. Sway, you think you're going to play man coverage with some dude named Job? I mean, press coverage? You think you're going to press coverage Justin Jefferson? That guy couldn't cover a cold. And you're going to cover him and get up in his face. Man, he'll get a release off him. He'll be down the field, running the sidelines. You'll think he's a 4x100 sprinter. And now that Avonte Maddox is out. So now Reed Blankenship is questionable for the next. Well, you got 10 days. We'll see. You got to be careful there with injuries. And I don't like going and forecasting anything on that because you do have 10 days off here. So let's see how that thing looks probably next Tuesday. But as of right now, Reed Blankenship, Avonte Maddox is out. And now you have to have another level of guys step up. Bradbury will be back. That's a big deal. Okay, Reddick, it's got to be the injury. Okay? It's got to be the injury. But I'll say this to you. I think there's more of a focus on those DTs today than it is on those edge rushers. Because those DTs have been the best part of that defense so far. They've been very good. And boy, I'll tell you what, if they could keep that trend going the whole year, you know, it's funny. People go like this. Sills, you said that you didn't think that Jordan Davis could be a pass rusher. It's once like you told me. Sills, we're 2-0 and it's 2 games. I get it. Okay? I get it. Let's see if he can maintain it. But so far, so good with him. I expected more from Hurts. I didn't expect this guy to get, I didn't. But then again, last year, I didn't think Josh Sweat was a 3-down lineman either. As the year went on, Josh Sweat became a 3-down lineman, and last night he showed you why he's a 3-down lineman. He's a good football player. By the way, you know, again, there's no question that the 2 coordinators that you took on in the first 2 weeks, those 2 teams are not very talented as a collective roster. But those coaches are good. There's a reason Brian Flores was in New England and owns 3 Super Bowls. He may own 4. Brian Flores may have 4 Super Bowl rings. Remember something. Patricia worked for him. Flores was the DC up there. Then the kid got the job. And Patricia was on that staff in there. I think he was DC for 2 Super Bowls. When Flores left for Miami. Game manager, $260 million, says Barb. So far, it's what the offense looks like. It's one progression. I disagree with people. I think he's a one-read guy right now. Now, is that him? Is that the offense? I don't know. It just doesn't look the same. And can you say it's because of the coaches? You probably could. JB, that's a good one. Last year, I thought Reddick started slow and then picked it up. Okay, I thought for sure, it was like after week 8, he started taking off. Josh Sweat, Jadeveon Clowney, absolutely not. Josh Sweat's better. Josh Sweat has already done something in his career that Jadeveon Clowney's never done. Double-digit sacks. And Clowney was a number 1 overall selection in the draft. Talk about underachieving. Jadeveon Clowney is a poster child for that. Green goes, is it the coaching? I think it's the philosophy. Tone, I don't know if this all ties in. You know how I think here, and everybody. I noticed it in game 1, him getting down and protecting himself. And I noticed he's getting hit more in the pocket, wanting him to throw the ball more instead of allowing Jalen to be Jalen. Like Vermeil said during the summertime. It just seems that they're so hell-bent on him throwing from the pocket when it's like they're changing his approach to the game a little. And to me, I think that's philosophical. I don't think that's anything to do with play calling, sequencing. I think it's got to do with, hey, listen, if you're out in the open, get down. You see him making those. And again, I think when I was talking to Farcetta, I think I maybe threw the wrong phrase out, business decisions. Technically it is, but I don't like, to me, sometimes when you hear a guy saying, business decisions, it sounds like the guy's a coward. That, to me, is not anything what I would say or use when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Okay? It just, Tone, I don't think it's play. I think it's philosophical. Okay? I don't really think it's play calling. And also this. So, doesn't it accentuate the mistake they made in game 1, having seen what Swift did in game 2? I mean, you got away from Gainwell after the first drive. Doesn't that hammer home more on the inexcusable not using DeAndre Swift in game 1? I mean, now, New England did a better job of stopping the run. They're a better defense. But I think it just puts kind of like the stamp. I think it puts a stamp. That's not true. If Hurts is a true leader, he would have won the Super Bowl. Okay? So if Tom Brady was a true leader, he'd have beat Nick Foles. That's not how you tie that in. That is not how you tie leadership in. Leadership is leading sometimes when it's dark too. You get more respect from people when things are going sideways than when things are going well. Ask A.J. Brown that. A.J. Brown's not a leader. He's a follower. Jalen Hurts is the leader. It's his job to calm that down. That's why after those two got into that whatever, and by the way, it's a nothing burger. That thing's a nothing burger. He has no history like Antonio Brown. There's no history to that shit. And so what? He flies off the mouth and he bitches at Tennessee. And you get me 1,500 yards and 100 catches. I don't give a shit what you do as long as you're not a train wreck in my locker room or on the sidelines. I personally don't care. I played with Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin was always chirping. Nobody cared because Irvin would come down with 11 catches, 150 yards receiving, 2 TDs. And you're like, I don't care. He's a great teammate. You don't care about that shit when you have a guy like that kind of talent. And like Mike said this about AJ Brown. He said, you better be a baller. If you're going to get in your quarterback's face, you better be a baller. And he's a baller. He's like this. Even Keyshawn Johnson said, it's not the man. I mean, that's just what you do sometimes. You start chirping at people. And he's probably like this. I'm wide open. And so to me, that's more of a coaching issue. No, Nick goes over there and diffuses the whole thing. I mean, and he should have diffused it. He should have diffused it, and he did. It was a good move to go over there. All right, enough. All right, enough. I'm with you. I don't really think it's a date. I mean, when I saw it, it's all over the internet right now. And when I saw it on the internet, I was like, oh, people are going to make that. I probably think you probably thought I was going, I don't give a shit about stuff like that. Man, you know how many times people bark at each other on the sidelines? Nobody gives a shit about that. All right, let me take a time out here. Oh, by the way, I'm going to say it to you. Tone, everyone, I think you're going to like this. We're 95% sure that we're going to have The Rock on next week. 95% sure we're getting him on next week. So we'll let you know more on that. I want to take a look at week 2 of the National Football League. Also, our friend Philly Godfather is going to join us. We so appreciate you guys so much. Power Hour's coming up. Keep it here on the National Football Show.